Hello, thank you for listening. I'm Heather Flo from the University of Birmingham School of Psychology, and today I'm going to be talking about meta-memory processes during police interviews in rape investigations. Meta-memory processes are the process by which we decide whether or not to report our memories, using certainty about memory's likely accuracy to determine whether or not we report information. Police interviews obtain memory evidence that may be used in the investigation of crimes and the prosecution of criminal perpetrators. My lab has been leveraging recent methodological advances in the cognitive psychology literature to examine whether the current detailed focused approach of police interviews limits witness recall accuracy and the quality of evidence that's obtained. We address this question in the context of rape, owing to the societal importance of the issue, as well as the significance of police interviews in rape cases. As we know, failures to achieve justice in rape often stem from difficulties with the victim's statements. One key element to the research that we are doing is alcohol. We know that alcohol is often involved in rape cases, with some estimates saying that about 80% of rape cases involve alcohol intoxication. And there are concerns in cases involving alcohol that the memory evidence that the complainant will report is likely to be inaccurate. And this often stems from looking at research conducted in the lab, as well as personal experience, perhaps. And in lab tests, what usually happens is that participants have to study some information, and then they're exhaustively tested about that information, meaning they have to answer a number of questions about what they studied. And usually what those experiments show is that there's a difference in accuracy between those who are intoxicated when they studied the material compared to those who are sober. However, in these tests, participants have no control over whether or not they're going to output information. That is, they can't say, "I don't know," when they answer questions. And this is really different compared to police interviews, where people have the opportunity to control and regulate their testimony under conditions where we're following the ABE guidance, for example. It's also been shown in experiments using paradigms where people have the opportunity to say, "I don't know," that people tend to report information about which they have a high degree of certainty in its accuracy, and this results in a high degree of accuracy in the answers that people provide. To give you an example of this in the context of rape, this is looking at the proportion of questions that participants answered as a function of alcohol dose, and we tested people 24 hours or 4 months after they underwent a hypothetical rape scenario. What these results show is that people at the highest intoxication level withheld more answers compared to the other groups. This is showing that people are likely to say, "I don't know," when memory is weak. Here's what happens when you look at the accuracy of the answers that people provide. When you look at just those answers that people report, so looking at accuracy type, looking at the bars above report, accuracy does not vary as a function of alcohol dose when you look at the answers that people report. However, if you look at overall accuracy, which is looking at answers to all questions, scoring "I don't know" answers as incorrect, you do find a difference in dose. So in short, if you allow people to control their memory output, the impact of alcohol does not appear to reduce accuracy. If you look at a police interview, and what we did is participants went through a hypothetical rape scenario, and then we interviewed them about it a week later using either the self-administered or the cognitive interview. And what we found when we compared people who had consumed alcohol to those who consumed tonic water is that there's no difference in the proportion of correctly recalled details depending on beverage. And this was the case for both self-administered interview as well as the cognitive interview, with accuracy being quite high in both groups. In this particular study today, what I want to talk to you about is whether people recall stronger memories during the free recall compared to the question phase of a police interview. So if we're using a phased interview approach, and in the first part of that, we allow people to freely recall memories, but then go back and probe them for additional information in the question phase, what happens to the confidence of participants' answers, and what happens to the accuracy of participants' answers as we move from the free recall phase to the question phase. We also asked whether recall accuracy and confidence are higher for information reported during the free recall compared to the question phase, and whether metacognitive discrimination accuracy is lower for intoxicated participants during the question phase, whereby participants are being probed for information that they perhaps withheld during the free recall phase. We also looked at whether probing participants with weaker memories, i.e. those who consumed alcohol during the scenario, reported less accurate memories during the question phase. This is the model that we're using. If we look at the potential answers that people could give to questions across the two phases of the interview, this is how we might represent that. For the free recall phase, what we have is a memory search set whereby people could report strong memories or weak memories. And what we're proposing is that people will report their strongest memories during the free recall phase. If we look at the second phase of a police interview where witnesses are probed for additional information, when we look at what's left in memory, what hasn't been reported, what we'll see by and large are weaker memories. And so if we're probing people for additional information, if they provide additional information, then what we're going to see is that it'll be memories that are weaker and memories that have less certainty. And as a result, what we'll end up with is a less accurate account during the question phase. To test this, what we did is we put people through a hypothetical rape scenario, and we used a balanced placebo design to control the beverage that participants consumed as well as alcohol expectancy. 1 week later, we interviewed participants using a phased approach, and the interviewer was a police-trained interviewer. We also had a recognition test that followed the interview, and this asked questions about all aspects of the scenario, and participants provided confidence ratings to the answers that they gave during the recognition test. Here are our overall results. What we're looking at here is the number of responses that participants gave as a function of confidence, low, medium, or high confidence. And the accuracy of the responses that participants gave is given by the color of the bars, whereby orange bars are accurate responses and blue bars are inaccurate responses. And what we see here is that participants are recalling a greater number of details in the free recall compared to the question phase. We're also seeing that accuracy is higher in the free recall phase. It's 82% correct in the free recall phase, where it's only 62% correct in the question phase. We also see that there's a greater number of high confidence responses in the free recall compared to the question phase. That is, 53% of responses are given with a high degree of confidence in the free recall phase, whereas only 39% of responses given during the question phase are given with a high degree of confidence. We also found that confidence is less predictive of accuracy in the free recall phase, and perhaps this is because accuracy was at ceiling. At all confidence levels, accuracy was greater than 80% during the free recall phase. When we break down the results by beverage, what we see is that the tonic water group was more accurate than the alcohol group, but not significantly so. We also see once again that confidence is not predictive of accuracy in the free recall phase for those who consumed tonic water and those that consumed alcohol. We see that accuracy for both groups is greater than 75% at all confidence levels. There's also no difference in the confidence accuracy relationship in relation to beverage. With respect to the question phase, however, the difference in accuracy between the tonic water group and the alcohol group grows. We now see that those who consumed alcohol are 76% accurate, whereas those who consume tonic water are 86% accurate. So it's a 10 percentage point difference between the two groups. So in short, probing for additional information is particularly problematic for those who had or have weaker memories. We also found that confidence is not predictive of accuracy in the question phase, and there's no difference in the confidence accuracy relationship in relation to beverage. So in conclusion, do people recall stronger memories during the free recall compared to the question phase? The answer to that question is yes. Is recall accuracy and confidence higher for information reported during the free recall than the question phase? Yes, it is. And metacognitive discrimination accuracy does not appear to be lower for participants during the question phase. It's not strong for either beverage condition. And most importantly, probing people with weaker memories for additional information reduces accuracy. So information is more likely to be accurate if it's given during the free recall phase than the question phase. And this is particularly so for people who have weaker memories. In our case, people who consumed alcohol. If you have questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. Please email me, or you could find me on Twitter as well. Thanks so much.